Yay Media Group.
Welcome to a brand new episode of the Finnish podcast.
Good intro, thanks. Francisco got into an altercation, not with me. We're going to tell you about that in just a second, but we've been in the trenches of potty training. I think on the last episode a couple weeks back, we talked about how we were half-assing our potty training, and then there was a school meeting, and Francisco, I don't keep up as much with some of the stuff because everything's in Spanish, and so it's, like, a lot in the group chat to keep up with. So every now and then, if I feel like there's some drama, I'll say, "Fran, what's going on?" Or I'll ask one of my new lovely mom friends I've made, but, anyway, Fran, I didn't know that they were having, like, a potty training class at school, and I already had prior, l ladies who lunch plans
Yeah.
because I have, like, quite a social life in some of the
Babe,
afternoons.
I'm so proud of you. Like every 3 days out of a week, you have this amazing lunch. Like what used to be my lunches here,
Yeah.
you have breakfast that start at 9:30, end up at 1:30.
I didn't realize we'll touch on the potty training and the fight in just a second, but I didn't realize that it's taken me a little bit of time to adjust, right? I mean, we live in a new country, and in America, you all know without even saying, our meal times are frequently very rushed, especially lunch. Like, you're in, you're out. If you even get to go out to lunch during the week, during work hours, you're usually having a working lunch, eating in your office, eating at your desk, or just standing in the kitchen and eating. I mean, that was always the routine, which is fine. But here, when you agree to go to breakfast or lunch with someone, you need to be prepared that their day is wiped clean. Like, this is a 3-hour minimum commitment. And it's very strange if you're like, oh, I gotta run, I gotta run. I mean, sure, that happens with moms, but yeah, we had like all the moms. I'd say there were about 13 out of the 18 were able to come because obviously some moms work and aren't able to get out of the office. But the moms have been so welcoming and so nice, and just so, the moms that are more the super professional stay-at-home moms, like they're the ones that used to have hardcore corporate jobs, and now they put all their energy into planning all the stuff and keeping us organized, which I'm so grateful for. Since I'm kind of that, like, in between mom, like, I work, but I also have a lot more flexibility with my schedule. But anyway, we had a all moms breakfast, and when I tell you that this breakfast was supposed to start after drop off, which is at 9:30, some of the moms aren't getting there till 10:30. I'm not sure what happens in that hour, and traffic, I don't know. And then mimosas going around. School pickup is at 1:30, so you better believe that that lasted from 10 until 1:30, and I'm kinda like, "Oh, shit," like, you think, you go for breakfast, it's like coffee, breakfast, 1 hour. I feel like 1 hour is kind of the normal breakfast lunch commitment in the United States, 1 hour, right? Here, no, 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 no.
Babe, I just cannot imagine you be able to edit all you have to say to another mom to 60 minutes.
Well, I spent almost 40 years of my life doing that, and now I am living my true chatty, loquacious self.
Good job.
I'm living my truth,
Just
Fran.
let this world run.
I get to, and the Latin women like to talk too, so it's just wonderful. I can't wait till I learn to speak so fluidly in another language, and then I'm just like, then I'm gonna have even more words probably because it's gonna be in Spanish and in English. So anyway, Fran took one for the team into the potty training lesson since I had a commitment, and yeah, I would say like half the kids, a little less than half the kids are potty trained and the others aren't, but we just haven't been stressed about it. Like, we haven't been worried about it with all of our life changes. I think it's like the one thing that you and I are like, when he's ready, he'll.
I think it was more than when he's ready, because I'm pretty certain he's been ready for 6 months or so. Uh, it was more a decision based on the fact that whenever those size 6 stop fitting, whenever
Oh, the diapers.
I call Huggies, they are not making size 7 unless I place an order of 2 million. So
If you're going through potty training or you're dreading it or you're struggling with it, I don't know. For us, it's just been one of those things that we just weren't worried about it. I mean, you have your moments where I'm sure you're going through this if you have young kids or have went through this, but you have the parents that are like, "Oh." My child's been potty trained since 4 months old. Right out of the womb, we were sitting them on the toilet, and you're like, "Oh my god." So, you do have some of that. Oh, been potty trained for a while, or, their daycare forced them to potty train before they were ready, and it took a long time, and so we just kind of collectively decided with all of our life changes, like, give it a minute, we'll just wait.
Yeah, and the comfort of the diaper.
Yeah, I think we've also just selfishly been like, on the weekends, what will we do if you're curious? I mean, not that we're experts by any means, but we love to share our failures and successes with you for 6 months, not maybe 4 months. On weekends here and there, we'll go like no diaper when we're at home in the morning. We take it off, he's naked or he's in sweatpants, whatever. And he's has a pretty good like 9 out of 10, I would say, times he tells us he needs to go pee pee. And so sometimes poo-poo would come out because he wasn't really knowing what that feeling was. But then, of course, plans come up. Like our friends are like, let's go out to eat. Let's go to the mall. Let's go to this play area. We're going to go out of town, whatever. So we throw the diaper on. So they say that's actually like the worst thing you can do once you kind of start is then like slap the diaper on. We just never wanted to take it to that next level because, you know.
I think it was a mixed up. Like
Mm.
it was going back. It's just that comfort of the diaper. Like we went to, I took Remy with another dad and his kid. We
Mhm.
went to Avandaro, and it's an hour and a half, 2 hour drive. The comfort of knowing that you don't have to stop.
Mhm. Every 10 minutes.
And his kid was, Papa, I need to go pee pee. And that's like, I was sitting in the passenger seat and I was like, that is not amazing, you know? Like,
Yeah, but
because we were stuck in traffic. The nearest gas station was like 20 minutes. So I start stressing out about it. I was like, well, worst thing that happens is he pees. The kid hold that till we got there. So it was amazing because he's been potty trained for like 6 months or so.
well,
And I was like, and I see Remy just,
peeing on
I'm
himself.
perfectly happy here, you
Yeah,
know?
Remy likes the diaper. So anyway, he asked for it, but we just decided this weekend because school said we have till August. So we were like, let's just do it. Like, there's never going to be a good time. There's never going to be the best weekend. You always wait on a holiday or something. But anyway, we just decided to do it. So I've been, you know, 2 pairs of pants, 2 pairs of underwear, now the diaper bag gets bigger again, so you're bringing out more clothes. You were kind of living life how we would. He's had a few accidents. We kept it around the house. You walked him down the street to the bakery. He had an accident. He peed and pooped. He told me he needed to pee the other day. I run him to the bathroom. I pull his pants down, and he was like, "I think I have poo-poo." I was like, "Great." But he's like, "It's not coming out." And then I take a step back, it had fallen out of his pants already, so I've been, like, covered in poo-poo. There's been, like, a lot of bodily fluids happening in the last few days, but he had a few accidents at school, and
Let's
yes.
just say we already know where the word, the phrase shit show came from.
Yeah. So you can get through it. We're doing it. We'll let you know how it goes, but, he definitely doesn't wanna go poop in the toilet, so I'll just be talking to him and he starts pooping in his I was like, "You don't have a diaper on." So the cleaning the poop out of the pants is not a great chapter, but I bet it'll just take a couple of weeks, right? Like, we'll get through it. It'll just be dirty and
I don't
whatever.
find it as hard. You grab the pants. I'm gonna give you a technique. Grab the poopy pants from the least poopy side,
Mhm.
wrap it around, and give it to Eva.
Our cleaning lady? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Brent, no. I am much kinder than you to the people we employ in the home. I actually remove the poop and I take it outside,
Oh yeah,
rinse
yeah.
off the paint.
If like if the poop it's movable, like you do it like that and it just falls, great. But if it's like
Stuck.
that it's like looks like a pavlova, that is just like
No,
a meringue.
I go wash it in the sink outside. But that's just who I am.
Well, that's amazing, babe.
I'm
Well, more
chatty,
power to
I'm
you.
chatty, and I'm empathetic, and I'm, as of late, non-confrontational, unlike yourself. We had a nice Valentine's date planned, and
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, keep going.
I'm transitioning for you. I'll set you up to tell your story. We actually, Fran and I don't always really celebrate Valentine's Day, right? I mean, I want to, like, when it
I
comes
don't
up.
remember one year I haven't celebrated it with
But
you.
you know what I mean, like, not like major stuff since we've had a baby. Yeah, you always acknowledge it, but it's like we don't do these grand, like, overnight trips and gifts and all of these things. We usually just try to carve out a little bit of time. Well, I always tell you I just wanna, like, get a massage or something. That's, like, my favorite
Yeah.
thing to do. But Fran, we decided we had a little bit since we have some extra support, in the afternoons during the week, we went to there's, like, a lovely modern art museum, even though at the time the exhibit sucked, but they have a cafe outside, and I was like, "Why don't you just meet me here, and we'll walk through the museum, have a drink, have a snack," and that was, like, our afternoon date. So, you came to meet me, and something a little interesting happened. I was 45 minutes. I was waiting 45
I
minutes. You were in
know.
traffic. I didn't know what happened, and then you came, and you seemed a little out of breath.
No, so I came to the coffee shop of this museum,
Mhm.
left because the driver was about to hand me something from the car. And when I was leaving the restaurant from the museum, I bump into this guy, like this guy that I kind of recognize. He was wearing a mask, you know,
Oh, like a COVID
like
mask.
a COVID
Huh.
mask.
An
And
older guy that you know.
see, yes, yes, like a contractor that I used to employ for certain works when I had houses that needed work. And I see him, and I stopped working with him around 3 years ago because we had a little altercation. And but it was 3 years ago, and it wasn't a heavy altercation. We just didn't agree in pricing, you
Yeah,
know.
sure.
So I said, "Hi, hey, Mister So and So." Hand my hand. He We handshake. He holds my hand,
He pulls you in close.
and he said, "You remember the last thing you told me on the phone last time we talked?" It's like, dude, I don't remember what I had for breakfast, and it's 12 o'clock. So I don't. But it seems that you do. You want to remind me? You said, "Carlos, go fuck yourself." It's like, that sounds like something I'll say 100%. And he's like, "Why don't you say it again in my face?" And it's like, well, I already said it, and I don't have any motivation or reason to say it right now. But you keep pushing it.
How old is this man, by the way?
60 years old. Um, like, very unathletic. And so I was, okay, what would you want me to say it again? So I can beat you. Shut up. I was like, I started laughing. It's like, dude, this is not high school, middle school. That shit doesn't even happen in high school anymore. And I was like, dude, chillax. Like, I don't remember what happened. And then he's like, well, and then you proceed to poach my workers. So it was a whole ordeal. I was like so shaken by it. Like, it's like,
Yeah,
at
you were.
this day and age, like, someone trying to pick up a fight. And I was like, should I, like, all the shouldas, like, but then
If someone's like 0 to 100, they're that level, it's been 3 years, he tried to rip you off with pricing, you probably shouldn't have said, "Go fuck yourself," to someone on the phone, but I get it, like,
and
you were mad and you knew him
I
for
would have
years.
told him go fuck himself in person. Like,
Sure.
it was.
Yeah, he was, like, truthfully trying to rip Fran off with a project that was, like, related to our family, and Fran was really pissed about it, and his employees were pissed about it, they weren't getting paid, and so it was, like, a whole drama thing, but it was also years ago. But it's so funny because when Fran comes up, he's so out of breath, and I see this old man, like, walking after him to, like, pat his back, like, you were doing the extra aggressive, like, see you," that kind of thing, and I was like, "Oh, it must be someone," so I didn't know any of this until you sat down,
No, no.
but as they're playing, like, retro Valentine's music at this classy museum on this outdoor patio, and like there's couples everywhere, and it's like Be My Babies playing over the speakers, and like I would have died, and like I would have just pulled out my phone, like if I saw you tussling with an old man on the ground on Valentine's Day, like it would have just been so horrifyingly amazing.
I think if I would have gone that route, I
Oh,
would have gotten sued for
sure.
the opposite of child abuse. You know, like if you
Elder abuse.
elder abuse,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it would have been bad.
I'm glad you didn't let it
And then
go there.
I think he came to senses because I'm not trying to toot my horn, but he got a lot of business out of me because I really got recommendations. So he came back. That's when he pat my back and was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, water under the bridge," and I was like, "Fuck off." I was like,
You did.
"Fuck off."
Yeah, like, what are you doing, man? Well, you know what? I think also that's why it's good to maintain when you're in a happier place in your life and things like that happen, it's so much more crystal clear how unhappy other people are because we've talked about this before with issues I've had with people in my past. Like when people are still so tied up on like a mutual fallout or whatever it may be that they're trashing you, disparaging you, that aggressive at that level, like he obviously it's sad. Like he has a lot of issues, because we all can move on from things after years. It's like, get the fuck
And
over it.
I'm like the king of moving on, you know?
Yeah, you don't hold grudges against anyone for anything, which is I'll draw this line. Draw this line between you and I. You and I
You
are
know,
different that way. Like I just kind of feel like sometimes the lines cross and I'm just like I don't still like hold on to anger, but I just like don't want anything to do with people anymore, like out of my life. Ugh.
it takes a lot of bandwidth to hold on grudge.
Sure. Yeah, I don't like to hold
And
it, but
when I saw him, it's like you see someone out of your natural environment, we're cool. Like we're not working together. You're not ripping me off. We're cool. We're friends. Didn't seem like that for him. But lesson learned, next time, beat the shit out of him. I'm just kidding.
that is not the lesson. That is not the lesson we're putting down. No.
No, I think don't hold grudges. Don't be that person. Let things go. It's
That's
easier for you.
I just agree so much with that. You and I rarely agree on things, but like I agree so much with the not holding the grudges because there's definitely been moments where I've been super hurt. I'm sure I've hurt unintentionally, but I'm sure I've hurt friends or people in the past and you have to just move on at some point because I think the hardest part about life for me as I've gotten older, one of the hardest parts about relationships in life is that you often don't get closure. You don't get closure and resolution to heartbreak, to friendship breakups, to work issues, to things. You don't always get closure. So you have no choice but to just um, kind of move on, right?
It all depends on what type of closure are you looking for. Because if you're looking for the closure, that means that he comes or she comes and say, "I'm sorry, I fuck you over," and that's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
And or most likely, there's people, but if you realize that your closure is just, I don't have to deal with it anymore.
Sure.
Your
Exactly.
closure is,
Or you're
I don't need someone to tell me I'm sorry. I just need to make sure that I'm okay and move on.
not even I'm sorry, but just sometimes for me, closures come when I see how like miserable people still are, or if they're like trashing me still years after something. I'm like, wow. You're still you're still there?
Yeah.
You're still there mentally? Like, I'm in such a better place, but anyway, I'm glad you didn't get the shit beat out of you by an old man,
Yeah. I would.
because you say that, like, kind of arrogantly, like, it would've been elder abuse, but you never know, sometimes old men can throw down, like, with a lot of anger too, like, the angrier
You
person
know, I know older men that can absolutely beat the living shit out of me, but he's not one of them. Like I'm not talking that I'm super fit, but I'm not 300 pounds.
is he?
Like he was,
Large?
like, yeah, he was large. So
I don't know, baby. He could just straddle you,
yeah, but like I could have a coffee by the time that he connects a punch.
been like, "Tick-tock,
That would
tick-tock."
have been your breakthrough,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
been my next viral
Yeah.
video. Yeah. We're gonna take a quick break. I hope you enjoyed Friends' aggressive altercation. No, we're gonna take a quick break and hear from a couple of the sponsors of the Fitish podcast, and we'll be right back because
Why?
Tell them. Friends, gonna think about it. We'll be right back. Daily Look is one of the Fitish podcast sponsors, and I have to tell you, I'm quite cynical when it comes to other people picking out the things that I wear. I I like my style. I feel like I know what looks good on my body. And so when you just kind of leave it out in the open, or is someone really going to be able to determine, or is an algorithm going to be able to determine what's a great fit for me? And when I tell you, yes, I was cynical, but when I tried Daily Look and they sent me my first box, I think I got 12 pieces in this box. And now the way this works, of course, is you fill out some questions online. They show you different photos of things, and I made sure to answer the way that I felt would really give me the best chance of getting some items that I liked. But they sent me this box of 12 things based on my preferences. Like, I don't tend to like patterns as much because I like to rewear things a lot more. Like, I feel like solid colors are more timeless. I'm more of a jeans or black. I like blazers and that sort of thing. I liked every single thing that was sent in this box. I mean, some things more than others, but I have been, you don't even know this, but some of the clothing that I've been rotating really frequently
Wow.
was from Daily Look, from my very first box. Y'all, I was just so impressed with this. It was so easy too. I mean, I got this stuff out a few days after taking this online quiz. And then, of course, the way it works is if you don't like some of the pieces or they just don't fit well, you send those back and you only pay for what you decide to keep. So, of course, there's different tiers of boxes. You don't have to get 12 items.
That is so cool because they let you try it out before you commit to it.
Exactly. Exactly. So I've just been loving Daily Look. They make it so easy. And the reality is, if you're busy, I know a lot of women like myself, you don't want to go to the mall. You don't have time. You don't have the bandwidth. And you're also hesitant to shop online because you may not always know your sizing and you don't want to pay for a bunch of items up front. But anyway, Daily Look has just been so exciting. I absolutely love it. So again, up to 12 hand selected items shipped right to your front door. And their mission is simple: elevate your style. They work with established brands too. I wasn't sure, again, when I started this, if it was just going to be like all of their own brands, but no, great brands. A lot of brands that I've never heard of
Really?
that are affordable and so stylish. Yes, I have now found some of the items in my mother's closet because she's been stealing my cardigan and a black blazer that I got that I absolutely love. They have sizes too that will fit everyone. So extra small to 3X and size 0 to 24. So no matter where you fall in that spectrum, they're going to have some stylish stuff for you. It's time to get your own personal stylist with Daily Look. Head to dailylook.com to take your style quiz. Use the code FITISH for 50% off your first order. Once again, that's dailylook.com and use the code FITISH to get 50% off your first order. So make sure you always use the promo code FITISH so we get some credit. Welcome back to the show. Cowboy boots today, huh? Are
Yeah.
you missing your Texas
Yes.
heritage?
100%, you
I
know?
guess they wear cowboy boots in Mexico too. Not as much in the city, but
Yeah, but I'm a proud Texan,
mm,
you know?
mm-hmm.
It embraced me and adopted me for almost 20 years.
Yeah, you're more proud of America than I am. I'm like trying to escape it in so many ways, and you're like,
Oh, I see the value in both, I think it's like when you say the friends are the family you choose.
mm-hmm.
Texas was the home I choose. I was born in Mexico. I didn't choose to be Mexican. I'm proud Mexican, but I chose to be Texan and American.
I love the United States. I agree with you. I mean, I love where I'm from. I love Texas too, regardless of, how politically diverse, to put it that way, Texas may be in general, but I love it. It has been interesting for me to move out of the country because I think I see a lot more content online that's not, that's coming from Europe, like in my algorithm, Europe or Mexico. And so many people will ask, like, what's the vibe? Like, what do people outside of the States think about the States? I'm like, I think people love the USA, like in general, for a lot of reasons, but I think like the USA is pretty embarrassing right now with everything that's gone on. Like I think people outside the USA are like, ugh, but they find it interesting, almost like the USA is like a celebrity gossip kind of thing. Like that's how they look at the United States, like it's a shit show.
Yeah.
um, but on a serious note, speaking more to moms maybe, because I'm gonna be more vulnerable when I talk about this, and I hate even what I'm gonna talk about, but I have been struggling on and off a little bit lately with Remy, and my relationship with Remy, and I thought it would be interesting, and I can get your feedback for those of you that have, maybe I don't really think it's a difference of boy mom, girl mom, that sort of thing. Um, every one of you who had a boy prior were like, "Oh, boys love their mamas so much. Boys love their mamas so much." And I know that Remy loves me, but Fran is definitely the preferred parent, 9 times out of 10. Like, he definitely is, and I attribute that to a lot of the kind of quality time that Fran has spent with Remy, like, at night. I think that the bond really solidified for them because Fran became the parent putting Remy to sleep every night, and when Fran and I didn't really agree on the sleep training because I just didn't wanna sleep with Remy every night, I wanted to sleep train, and Fran, bless his heart, he just couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle the cries, you know? But
For all of you that are not from Texas, bless your heart means go fuck yourself. Also,
no, it doesn't. But no, it's wonderful. I mean, I'm in no way, like, jealous of Fran and Remy's relationship because I'm so grateful to have a partner that's I mean, you're so great with him, you know? I mean, it's probably, like, one of your most standout qualities is how amazing you are with Remy. But you sleep with him every night. When he gets up in the middle of the night, every night, Fran goes in there and sleeps with him. And, now he doesn't want me to do that. Unless you're out of town, where's Papa? Where's Papa? He'll be okay. But beyond that, lately, I've noticed a lot more attitude with me and, always just wanting Papa in a situation where Remy is being stubborn or doesn't want to do something. And so, I'm not so worried about it that I'm going to therapy. This is my therapy. I'm just telling you, but I was sharing this with one of my mom friends. I've really started to make such nice friends here, which is so cool because that wasn't even on my like priority list. But one of the moms, a lot of them have more than one child, but one of them said to me something that they had to do once they started having more than one child. And there was a lot of jealousy or frustration, with the older child, is that her and her husband make a lot of effort to like, isolate each child and spend one-on-one time with them just to even if it's just one thing a week that you're going and doing, and I started thinking more about how since moving to Mexico, I don't do that nearly as much because I'm so non-independent compared to how I used to be. I'm not like in Dallas, I would throw Remy in the car and take him to Target, just for something to do some of those days when you'd be working. I would take him to the zoo by myself. I would do everything with Remy by myself on days that I needed to. And I don't do that here anymore. A, because we spend so much time as a couple with Remy when we go do things like that. You're involved. I don't drive until last night was the first time I like drove and then I lost you on the road, was like in Mexico City. But because I don't drive and we spend so much time at home and school's so close after school, I spend time with Remy one on one, but I'm not actually taking him as much as you do one on one to do memorable things and then not sleeping with him at night. So one of the moms, anyway, that was a way too long winded version of like, she basically said that once a week, even if it's something as simple as like after school going alone, not with you, getting him, taking him to eat, taking him to get ice cream, taking him to the park, taking him anywhere just one time a week, like a one-on-one date. Not because we don't want you there, but because it's so important for me to still establish like that one-on-one bond. So I don't know. I mean, what do you think about that? Do y'all go through phases like this? Is it a phase? I don't mind that Fran's like the preferred parent. I would like it more equal. I don't know if kids flip-flop and this happens and he's like gonna do this for a couple of years and then it's gonna be me for a couple of years. Like again, I'm in no way like resentful or upset about it, but I want to make sure I work on like our relationship because sometimes I'm like, you fucker. I don't say that. I'm thinking it. I don't say it. But it's like,
I was about to say that makes more sense now.
as a mom, as a mom, you're like, I mean, I am, you know, like we talk about primary parents because yes, it usually is the woman, especially if your husband's working all day and you're staying with the kids. So you are the default parent and you're doing all the other stuff too. But for me, I feel like Fran gets the good and he does. I mean, Fran spends so much time with Remy too. So he does have that. But there's been so much of me that I'm like, I'm the fucking one like cleaning up after him more or, buying his clothes, doing all that stuff, And this morning he was being such a little asshole to me. And I was like showing him all his new clothes I got him for summer. And I'm just so mad about it. I just go in the closet. And he's like, "Leave me alone." And I'm like, "I am leaving you alone." He's so mean to me sometimes. And he knows. I'm like, you are hurting my feelings. He's like, "I know it."
It's tough. And the thing is that he is so intelligent and he knows how to push your buttons when he wants to push your buttons. And like he does that to me all the time. Papa, I don't want you. Papa, I don't love you. It's like,
He does?
cool. Yes,
I never hear that.
because I'm
Are you
like,
just saying that to make me feel better?
no, no, because I'm very disciplinarian with him. Like I don't let a lot of shit fly. And when things happen, no, babe, when something needs to happen, it happens, whether he wants it or not. From cleaning poop from his butt to taking him where he needs to go. And if he doesn't want it, and I put him in the car seat and he starts screaming bloody murder, he starts saying, Papa, I don't love you. I want mama. I don't want to be with you. It's like, cool, boy. Sit, shut the fuck up. We're going to go. And
Until he fake cries and you're like, maybe.
no, but when he's fake crying because he fall, or when he's fake crying because he wants my attention, he has it.
Well, I think I'm gonna start the occasional mom and Remy date. I'll make it a
Yeah.
thing, you know what I mean? I'll make it an actual, because obviously we hang out all the time at home. I mean, he cooks with me, he does stuff, but maybe there's that one thing if I could start doing some one thing during the week. Like maybe it is just going for, ice cream or tacos, whatever, after school, which we do together, and it's so nice to do
It's
it
so
together.
easy. Like take him walking to the bakery. He loves that.
Yeah.
Like he loves walking on his terms.
Sometimes I just haven't done it for him because when you move to a new country and you feel a certain level, a high level of uncomfortability, more than you like to admit to your own
Oh,
self. Like
100%.
for me, I think, and that maybe is this an excuse? Like that's what I mean. Am I making an excuse for not doing it, or is it legitimate? I think I'm a pretty confident, independent person, and that has definitely been something that I know you don't empathize with as much with me moving here. My mom and I talk about it because I I feel when I'm alone, I go on runs, I feel in our neighborhood, I feel safe, I feel comfortable, but there's that level of uncomfortability with a child being out somewhere alone with them in a city where you don't know the language, you don't even know exactly what you would do if you got into a car wreck, like if I was driving, that's why I haven't wanted to drive because the process is different here. I don't know the language and I feel so much more comfortable with you around, and I think it just takes time, I mean, we've only lived in this city since October, so maybe that's what it is for me.
Something you can do is take him for a walk and have the driver following you around. If something happens, he's there and you can take him in his little car. He loves that little car.
Sounds like a major asshole thing right now. You're like, "I'm the
No, but
driver."
it's
Just so you all know, because it does sound crazy, um, we do have a driver here certain hours during the day, and it's like a very affordable, like, service to have if you're able to have it, and it makes a lot of sense because traffic here is terrible and going to school and doing other things, so it's a much more normal thing. I would equate it to, like, taking a handful of Ubers every month when you're going out on the weekend, so I know I just like to say that because we'll get
because
because last time you were shaming me for the support we have in the house and people were commenting like, "Oh," like it does. It sounds and we can be authentic with our audience, but it sounds ridiculous when you say some of the support that we're able to have here in Mexico. But again, that is a selling point about, moving abroad or living in Mexico that and a reason I think a lot of women have more kids here because that the support is more affordable and it's more like normal, to have that sort of thing. It's not
and Latinos, we're more hot-blooded.
hmm.
I said, Latinos were more hot-blooded. That's why women have more kids.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, so I don't know, that's what I'm considering some approach to that, because I mean, I'm a disciplinarian too. I mean, that rat, like, I don't want him to get away with stuff. Men start gaslighting, did you know, as young as the age of 3 from firsthand experience. He came home from school the other day and I said, "How did it go? You're in," he was in different underwear, different
So
pants.
men start 3 years after women?
Men start gaslighting. First of all, gaslighting is much more common in men. And he comes home from school and he says, I say, "Oh, you're in new pants." I go, "How did potty training go today?" And he looked at me and he told me that his teacher, Miss Sissy, pooped her pants. And I said, "Remy, I heard actually that you pooped your pants." "No, Miss Sissy pooped her pants." And I said, "Remy, I think Miss Sissy's a grown up. I think she knows how to go in the bathroom." And he said, "No, she pooped in her pants in the classroom." I went, this rat is gaslighting with a terrible gaslit lie, but he's gaslighting at the age of 3. I told his teacher, I go, "I'm so sorry about your incident in the classroom yesterday. Remy told me how you pooped your pants." So we were laughing about it, but I was like, these kids, it's crazy that he would say that, but it was him. He pooped his pants. But, think about with some age and some better believable lies, like, I don't like that gaslighting. I tell him what gaslighting is. I was like, "You're not gaslighting me." He didn't quite get the concept, but he's going to.
That little boy. He's so amazing.
Okay, well then I'm gonna be the fun parent. I'm gonna be the like ice cream mom, because that's usually what dad is, and that's why the kids always want dad. So I'm gonna be
Hey,
the fun parent.
it's all, you can be fun, you can be not fun. I think it's all about what you were saying, having that one-on-one. Just having those type of moments, like it's, and especially,
I do in mine, I make them so educational. Like I get him so many crafts and toys and we're coloring and we're building magnet blocks and we're cooking with Remy. You know what my one-on-one time is gonna start being? I'm setting him up a YouTube channel in here and I'm gonna make him perform.
yeah.
That's gonna be our one-on-one time. I'm gonna be the
Can you
stage mom.
imagine if he retired us?
Before we let you go, Brandon and I have been we were talking about it because so many of you have said we feel like morally a bit cross on that because it's for me, I don't wanna look at it as a huge deal. Like, I think if you have a good foundation, a good family unit, you can grow up and, have some photos on social media. I know this is a very polarizing topic, so I'm just never gonna be that mom that, like, posts photos of her kids with, like, emojis over the faces. I would either like, my opinion is, like, don't share that online at all, don't share it, period or, share your life how you want. So I do share him and for now, that's how I feel. If things change, then it changes. But Remy loves those cooking videos. And so many of you, or maybe people that aren't listening to the podcast, I've gotten a lot of commentary from people that I didn't realize that you watch those videos with your child and your child likes watching those videos, but obviously they're very short. I'm limited with time. I edit them to like a minute when, we film that for half an hour. And I thought, maybe I should not post them on Instagram, or TikTok, and I should post them on YouTube,
Yeah.
like where you're able to watch our podcast every week right here. Maybe I should post them on YouTube. So when we were looking into it, Brandon and I were dying because some of these kids that make these YouTube videos at home with their parents, I mean, I guess you can pass judgment because, you hope that these kids are not, being forced to work. But when something becomes like a big revenue stream, of course you have to, they have to film videos. I think that's the dilemma, right? Is yeah, you can start it, it's all fun and games if I were to film cooking with Remy like long form and put it on YouTube and, some of those kids are so successful, but then, like, are these kids little assholes? And, like, how do you
I,
manage that?
I
And
think
also, what happens when each week, if it did start to become a thing, he has to film a video every week. And I don't do
100%.
that to him right now,
I think the rule of thumb has to be enjoyment.
Right, Fran. But what you don't understand is like, what I try to tell you is, yes, and that's why I've only ever done 3 or 4 cooking videos because there's been a couple times when I'm cooking, I'm like, "Do you wanna do cooking with Remy?" "No." and he wants to sit and watch, but he doesn't wanna do it. So I just so you know, and I'm not trying to make myself sound like a better mom than I'm not, but I don't do it. Like if he doesn't want to, I don't do it. And so that's why I just haven't, I just don't do it that frequently. But if it starts to become a revenue stream, the way that works, it's just like with the podcast today. You have two sponsors on a certain date. Like it's a deliverable, it has to be done. So you have to include that. So if you start actually monetizing to a point that it becomes a lucrative or just making any money at all, you we have to do the video. You know what I mean? Like it has to be done because you have a deadline to make the revenue on that. Or no, you just never do any sponsored content, but then again, you know what I'm saying? It's a slippery slope because if something takes off and it does really well, which is great. I mean, I was telling you in California, they passed a law and there's a lot of drama around a lot of influencers moving to Tennessee and moving out of California because if your child is in 30% or more of content that you're like actively monetizing, which we haven't. I mean, none of those videos like with TikTok, I don't think there's any monetization that I have set up on TikTok right now. But if you are making money off of content as a creator and your kids are in 30% or more of the content, 50% of that income has to go into a trust for them, which I think is awesome. I mean, if Remy were to make any money doing anything, it would all be for him anyway, but it's still something to really consider,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because he's not at an age where he's
Remy
old enough to
does need a
consent.
G6,
Huh?
you know. And but talking about content, I finally, it only took a year almost.
Yeah.
I start creating content. So if there's anything you want to see,
I'm
any
so proud of you.
questions,
You've made some videos, right?
some video.
Some
So
video.
some
No, you
video.
made dos.
I made it. I made
Dos
it in
videos.
Spanish and I made it in English.
Sí.
Yeah.
Está bien, Francisco.
Oh, look at! I'm so proud of you. I have to say, like, when I hear you speaking Spanish, you're doing a really good job.
Give me an example.
I have many examples, but the other day I heard you with Eva, and I have heard you with a couple other people. Like, you're piecing your words very well.
I wanted a specific example of something I said that sounded correct, but
Everything you say sounds correct.
I'm getting by just by, here and there, but I'm not advancing quickly enough. But I think, like with anything, you have to put a lot of effort into it. So I think over a course of a few years, I would learn more and more. But I think if I really want to accelerate, like I would love to say in a year from now, I'm able to converse pretty freely with someone, and that's where I get stopped down, but I think what's gonna help is I think I need to find a teacher once a week that could come to the house, and I could actually do conversation with them of the things that I want to say. Because that's what's helped me so much is I'm only learning things that on a day-to-day I wanna say, and then I'm putting those into use, like when I'm asking for some help with something in the kitchen, or I was trying to tell her, like I didn't even ayer is yesterday, like I was trying to tell her that yesterday, whatever, something happened. So I'm working on it, but I'm only learning the things that I actively want to say. So anyway, my mom friends are like amazing. They're so helpful. They're always like, "Do you want us to like, can we have these conversations in Spanish?" But you know how that goes. It turns an entire we got a lot to say. It turns an entire conversation into, well, how do I say this? How do I say this? How do I say this? How do I say this?
Yeah, I bet it.
Your dad says you have a great teacher at home, and everyone started laughing before you came into the house yesterday because I think they all know that you have like no real bandwidth to teach me Spanish. For instance, like I asked Francisco yesterday, like I broke a glass and I was like, is glass vaso? Is glass like when you ask for a glass of water? But is glass like in English, this is so stupid, but like is glass glass? We say glass for multiple things. Glass could be, like if a glass table, a glass window, a glass that you drink out of. But at first you told me vaso vaso, and I was like, but no, what if there's just broken glass, but you don't know if it's an actual
Glass.
drinking glass? But then you changed the word and you said, no, we have another word for
No,
the
the thing is
material.
that glass is a material. Glass is not a thing. Glass is
Vaso's like cup.
vaso is a cup. Like it's a cup made out of glass. If it's a glass cup.
So, so it gets a very convoluted explanation from Fran, and I was like, I think I need a teacher.
And then, but I just want you to know that this happens both ways. When I moved to the US, and people said, "Hey, like I wanted a glass of wine." A glass of wine in Spanish es
Copa.
una copa de vino.
Sí.
So I used to order a cup of wine,
Mm.
and they served me wine in a cup, and I was like, "No, no, no, I want a cup." Oh, you mean a glass? It's like, shut the fuck up.
Sometimes I feel like you've harbored some resentment over how you were forced to learn English by drowning.
I'm just
That you punished me in a way because there's been moments where we've been fighting and when we first got here and I was so lost, I'm like drowning. I was like, I want to do it. I want to be here. And you'd be like, just fucking figure it out like I did. And I'm like, no, like I wasn't in your life at that point. It's not my fault that you were a bad seed and you got sent to boarding school and they made you run every time you spoke Spanish. Like you have some trauma that was not my
maybe I'll make you run
and now you're
when you speak
punishing
English.
me. No, but you're punishing
That will
me.
kill two birds. I'll help you with your marathon and your Spanish.
Since when are you my half marathon coach?
Since right now.
Today is the day that you're supposed to find out if you got into the New York Marathon.
I know. It was yesterday. It was today, yeah.
It's today. Francisco's going to find out if him and our other two friends, the couple, got in. I decided to not sign up because I'm going to half marathon and quit. Like, that's the most I can do. So I'll be with the kids with signs in New York if y'all get in. I'll be like,
I don't think I'm gonna get in. Like, I really hope I don't. And I hope I do. I have like a duality of hopes.
I'm not going to say what I feel.
I've done worse things.
Worse things. Okay. Well, on that note, we'll let you know if Fran gets into the marathon. We'll talk a little more about that. Let us know if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts on raising our crazy children. As I'm going through that, I'm like, maybe if I have another one, that one will love me more than Rem's, Oh, then Rem's going to get
That for
jealous.
sure she's gonna love you more.
Huh?
Like, I'm pretty sure like he or she's going to love you more.
Why?
Because I'll be taking care of Remy, so you're gonna have to take care of that one.
I do take care of Remy.
I know, but
What I mean, like that you say shit like that. Like, what are you talking about?
if we have another one, like it's gonna be two Remys, two magnets of attention. So
I swear, if I wasn't attracted to men, I swear. We'll see you next week.
bye bye.